I've toasted 25 grams of sesame seeds. Please, when you're toasting, do not take your eye off it. This is the second batch I made. I took my eye off it and I burnt it. Now it's perfect. It's fragrant. I'm going to put it into a pestle and mortar. And I am going to, oh, there it is, crush these bad boys. They'll be releasing lots of lovely oil. So just give this a smell. So I just want you to take your time and crush it. So far, this has taken about a minute. The smell is incredible. It's turning into, there's bits that are powdery, there's bits that's not, and actually I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. 1, 2. I'm going to add a tablespoon of water. Oops. I'll come back to that. That's my noodles. And I'm just going to add a little splash of, I'm using sushi rice vinegar. The reason you can use vinegar, but I like to use sushi rice vinegar because it's sweet. So I like that sweet note, just a little splash. Give it a mix. And we can set this to one side. This will be the dressing for the sesame noodles. So I've cooked the noodles according to the pack instructions, which is 5 minutes. So I'm going to drain these off and run them in cold water and set them to one side. So I put a splash of water back into the pan in which I cooked the noodles because I'm going to steam the vegetables, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. But before I do that, I need to talk to you about our energy prices. We've had to shift and change. So I've always boiled a kettle to get boiling water because it's quick, but electricity is so much more expensive than gas now. So in fact, it is cheaper to put water in a pan and bring it to the boil than it is to turn the kettle on. I'm sorry, I digressed. So let's talk about the vegetables that I'm going to put in this. You can use whatever vegetables you've got available in the fridge. Because it's asparagus season, because I bought them at the market, these really big fat asparagus. So you would snap off the end, as I've shown you before. I've cut off the tips, which are here. The big fat bit that's left, I used my vegetable peeler to get some lovely thin ribbons. And then the bits that were left, these bits, I have finely chopped. Everything cooks for a different length of time. So in my steamer, I'm going to start with the stalk and the asparagus heads, and then I'm going to finish with the ribbons of asparagus and some spinach, and it won't need to steam for long. One of the things I keep in my fridge all the time, I always have in the fridge, spring onions. We will put the whites of the spring onions in with the spinach, and then I'm going to keep chopping because everything else that's left will go on the finished dish. I've also got some coriander that will go on the finished dish. Okay, I'm going to take a break there. I'm going to steam the vegetables. I've got just a splash of water in this saucepan. I've got a colander. I've put the stuff that will take longer to cook, which is the stalks and the heads of the asparagus. You could use broccoli. Chop the stalk into little pieces, don't waste any, and then put the flowers in after a little while. I'm just going to, I've got a saucepan lid. I'm going to steam that just for a couple of minutes, and then I will add the spinach. I'm just going to set a timer. And then once it's steamed, we can set it aside and we'll go on to cooking the fish. And I'm going to put the fish skin side down on the baking paper. This means it won't stick. These are sea bass fillets. I'm going to cook them for maybe 3 minutes on one side, on the skin side, to get the skin nice and crispy, and then over for 30 seconds on the other side, and they're done and they won't be stuck to the pan. While the fish is cooking, I'm just going to add the last bits of vegetables to the steaming basket. Oh, I'll just take that fork out. I'll leave the heat on for just 1 minute and then I'll turn the heat off and let it sit, and then I don't have to worry about it overcooking. The fish is almost completely opaque. I haven't had to cook it in any oil. I'm just going to flip it over for 30 seconds. It has the most beautiful, oh my gosh, super crispy skin. 30 seconds, then I'm going to take it out of the pan. Leave the fish to rest, then take your sesame dressing, pop that in the pan, along with the noodles, which are over here. A splash of water. Coat all the noodles. Then in here, I've got my steamed, very lightly steamed vegetables, which can all go in as well. And just warm it through, toss it around. Obviously, you could do this in a wok. I just don't have a wok. I've got my Netherton Foundry Prospector's pan, which I use for absolutely everything. That sounds like I'm plugging something. I'm not paid for this. And here is tonight's super healthy recipe: sesame noodles with lovely spring veg. That's quite a lot. And sea bass with a very crispy skin. I'm going to try and do it with my fingers. I'll just slide it on. That will just sit on the top. And I'm going to finish it with some spring onions, because that's how I roll, and a little bit of torn up coriander. And actually, bear with me, I'm going to finish this off with a little drizzle of toasted sesame oil. Gosh. Oh, that smells good.